All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some necessary conclusions here, okay? I've done a little bit of investigation about this shooter, and I've done a little bit of looking into his background, all right, at least what they tell us. And I'm going to give you a quick summary right here, okay? He's a veteran, Puerto Rican, lived here in the states, lower states, what up in Alaska they will call the lower 48. Moved to Alaska, came down here. Has been picked up a few times for being mentally disabled or something like this. And my conclusions that I'm drawing from all this is this. Listen to me very closely. I am pessimistic concerning government. And I didn't become this way overnight, because if I was always pessimistic concerning the government, then I would have never been optimistic by joining the federal government and being a paratrooper in the United States Army. Does that make sense? 10 years now, 10 years. And so after getting out, and of course, my speech often reminds me of General Smedley Butler. And he has a lot of comments. And one of them is about how controlled that he was the whole entire time that he was in. He said, as a matter of fact, General Smedley Butler said that I did not have one original thought. Ooh, that is staggering when you think about all the information that is presented to us on a daily basis. But my personal opinion is that our federal government, especially after this shooter has allegedly been probed by the FBI. But my conclusion is that the powers that be are still in the business of reducing the population. And that, I might add, by any means necessary. In other words, they really truly don't care about all these people in Chicago shooting up everybody, and these psychotic, chaotic people who have PTSDs or whatever they call them. A lot of them are just misdiagnosed because the veterans, they get slapped with PTSD as soon as they get back from overseas, all for the purpose so that they want to be able to carry a gun. Because the one thing we don't want is we don't want a bunch of people running around in this country that are, i.e. veterans, that actually know how to use those things. And so, how many times have we watched this systemic problem? It keeps coming back again and again and again and again and again. How many times do we watch it? That somebody gets diagnosed or somebody tries to check themselves in as being mentally mentally unstable, and then they get let go only later on to end up causing a ruckus. So you check this out, all right? This guy swears up and down he's mind control. So he legally was able to carry his gun, and he got his weapon at baggage claim, went into the bathroom, loaded up the ammunition. Y'all can see what's taking place right now, right? In other words, they already have in place, because they do not like people running around with guns at the airport or anywhere. So they already going to have it in place now to make it more difficult for people like us who are law-abiding citizens. Now watch this. If I'm implying I'm a law-abiding citizen, and I am, all right? I'm a law-abiding citizen. Watch this. Then that means the laws are really a detriment for me, because criminals do not obey laws. I know it's just really simple, but it's just the truth. So no telling what they have in place now. Can you imagine what we all getting ready to go through when we check weapons? Because when I fly in the corners of the United States of America, I check my weapon. I take it everywhere I go, with exception of the communist places that I can't. And believe you me, if I ever been in those places, I make my stay just as quick as possible, and I get the hell out. I really, truly do. Because I don't like traveling, living in any places where I cannot protect myself against evil. So anyway, over at Zero Hedge, look what it says right here. Headline about the Florida shooting. You're going to see the reason why I'm talking about this. So I want y'all to listen to me very close, all right? Florida shooter charged, could face death penalty, had gun returned after found, look at this, mentally stable. No, after they found him mentally stable. Federal prosecutors found a court document on Sunday charging Fort Lauderdale airport shooting suspect Esteban Santiago with carrying out an act of violence at an international airport resulting in death, a charge which carries a maximum punishment of the death penalty. The 26-year-old Iraq war veteran who claimed he was mind-controlled by the U.S. intelligence agencies. Now, I wonder how many of us are going to pay attention to that assertion. Because here's someone that's claiming mind control. Now, many of us, we're very familiar with the program called the M2K Ultra Mind Control. Some of you may have never heard of it. You may have never heard of it. And there's a lot of things you may have never heard of, but you sure are opinionated, many of you, aren't you? Also, was charged with 2 firearms offenses. He is accused of killing 5 people and wounding 6 others on Friday when he opened fire at a Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International baggage claim. And I'm going to go back again. Most of you have never heard of M2K Ultra Mind Control. I'm sure you're going to get in on information superhighway. And then what the world is PastorDowell? What the world is he talking about now? Yeah, there are people that has been mind controlled. What's the name of that woman? Kathy O'Brien. Kathy O'Brien. May I want to check that one out too. Man, memory coming up here, man. And you know, it's amazing. It'd be something if this so-called conspiracy theory, and what do you do when the theory is fact? If all this sci-fi fly my mess wasn't really true, especially if it wasn't, a lot of this wasn't even written about in George Orwell's 1984. It's just, you know, it's off the chain. The mind manipulation, the bizarre behavior that they have definitely imprinted on us, the modifying of the minds, the modifying of the and I ain't gonna go into all this. Let me just get on back because I'll digress, and I'll just keep on, and because I'm trying my best to get you to comprehend, to understand. And I know that's a very difficult task today because anyway. All right. So look at this. Today's charges represent the gravity of the situation and reflect the commitment of the federal, state, and local law enforcement personnel to continue to protect the community and prosecute those who targeted our residents and visitors. First of all, how did your protection do? We keep hearing over and over again that the federal, the state, meaning i.e. law enforcement officers, police officers, cops, we keep hearing over and over again that these people are here to protect us. And I'm asking you a question. I'm going to ask you a very logical question. You listen to me very closely. With all of the Homeland Security, TSA, airport security, all right, police down there in Nashville, they walk around with AR-15s at the ready. They do. Now, I'm asking you, how well did they protect those people who got killed and those who got injured? How well? With all this police state that we have today, how is their protection doing for you? Ask those people and their families down in Florida who was victims of this heinous act how well that the federal, the state, and the local law enforcement officials protected them. I'm going to be waiting. In other words, I can wait from here into eternity and still never get the answer. Not a viable answer, because you know why? They never did. They didn't protect them. It's i.e. PastorDowell asserts, and I say it again, that the police officers, law enforcement, federal government, federal, local, and state, they are not designed to protect you. You are designed to protect you, and you alone. I might often say that if there was, and I'm giving a hypothetical here, if there was 3 or 4 veterans in that situation right there, and you know, especially one of them had a gun, you don't be able to check this gun. Of course, now you got to go through a damn act of Congress. You got to unlock it and everything. Then you got to get the magazine out. Then you got to get the ammo out. You got to load the ammo into the magazine. Then you have to put the magazine into the actual the weapon itself. Then you have to charge. I mean, you got to do all these functions before you're able to get into the fight. But if there was veterans, I mean, think about it. They said that people, when they heard these fires, first thing they did was, bam, they hit the floor and laid down. And this cat was just running along, pow, 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 shooting people in the back of the head, killing them. And then they said after he emptied all his rounds, he simply just laid down. Laid down. No resistance, no fight whatsoever at all. Just laid down and was taken into custody. How well did your government do with all the laws? How well did they protect all those victims down there? I'm telling you, they can't protect you. You and you alone are charged for your own protection. And I can't get these 2 people thick heads in. And then people, oh, guns are evil. Guns are evil. What? Tell me, what's so evil about this? What is so evil about that? Most of you have missed my demonstration. I'm going to do it again. All right, watch this. I'm going to put it behind my back. And if that gun does not jump up off that stand and shoot me in the back of the head because it's evil, then something is greatly wrong with your philosophy. Something is greatly wrong with the way you process thought and the way you think. Because right now, watch this. I don't think this punk ass gun can kill me. You hear me? I think you're a coward. I think you're a morally reprehensible sissy and punk, and I can go all kind of superlatives. Now that I insulted you, I dare you. I dare you, because if you don't jump up off this, I'll take this other one right here and I'll shoot you and kill you. How about that? Now, I'm saying all this again to say, if that gun doesn't do that, then it ain't the gun that is evil. That is a tool or instrument. No more than this. See this? And I'm going to say it again. If there was a couple of veterans down there, and this guy was running around, the veterans would have probably been looking for an avenue to be able to get a hold of that guy. Because if I had a pen on me, and I usually carry a pen on me, I'm going to let y'all in on something. I usually carry a very hard shell pen. Very hard. Stainless steel pen. Because I don't have no confidence in these. Because this right here is a deadly weapon in the hands of a trained individual. This right here, a pen. You don't see them regulating pens. You don't see it. I'm going to leave it at that. But I usually carry a very hard shell pen no matter where I go. Because I'm telling you right now, I can eliminate somebody just like that with this. And we need some serious education. But the education that myself and many others try to give you, you don't want. Why? Because they have trained you through fear and coercion and manipulation. They have trained you to believe in the system that they have set up and make you think that they're going to protect you. And here we are with all this security, all these guns, all this, and they could not protect these innocent people that died. Couldn't do it. And I go on. U.S. Attorney, he said, check it out. The Santiago investigators that he planned the attack and purchased a one-way ticket from Anchorage, Alaska to Fort Lauderdale, according to the federal complaint. Authorities who are still unsure of the suspect's motives and have not ruled out terrorism. He is set to appear in court at Fort Lauderdale on Monday. Meanwhile, it emerged overnight that a firearm seized from Santiago by the FBI Anchorage police was returned to him in December. Last November, Santiago walked into the local FBI office in Anchorage and told agents his mind was being controlled by a U.S. intelligence agency. FBI Specialist Agent Martin Ritzman told a press conference on Saturday that he had a loaded magazine on him at the time, but left his gun in his vehicle along with his newborn child. The firearm was seized while Santiago was turned over to local police for mental health evaluation. Santiago was having terroristic thoughts and believed he was being influenced by Islam. Anchorage Police Chief Chris Tolley told the news conference. However, last month, Santiago was not found to be mentally ill, and his firearm was returned early last month, Tolley said. He did not say whether the firearm was the same weapon used in the Fort Lauderdale airport shooting. On Friday, Santiago retrieved a 9mm semi-automatic handgun from his checked luggage at the Fort Lauderdale airport. He loaded the firearm in the bathroom before indiscriminately shooting in the baggage claim area. 5 people died and 6 more people sustained gunshot wounds, while another 3 dozen were taken to local hospitals with broken bones, bruises sustained, while passengers fled the crowded area. The motive behind Santiago's shooting remains unclear, with either mentally instability or radicalized, here it is, Islamization, so far emerging as the 2 most popular theories in Friday's shooting. And see, and all they got to do is use the word Islamophobia, Islam, and Islamic terrorists, Islamic extremists, Islam. And next thing you know, boy, they got y'all, you people, so loaded with fear. I mean, loaded with fear. You know, I want to ask every single one of you a question that lives in the United States of America. I just want to be straightforward. I want to be honest about this question. We please, let's abstain from personal biases. Let's abstain from prejudice, and let's abstain from bigotry, okay? Listen to me very closely. Have you ever talked to a Muslim man or woman in America? Have you ever done it? And if you haven't, then shut your damn mouth, because I want to ask you a question. Because I think that reverse psychology is being employed here in racism. I was in Washington, D.C. Last month, and I actually stopped an Islamic woman, and we had an intelligent conversation. I made sure I approached her very carefully, because I know how people think today. I wanted her to be sure that I was not trying to hit on her in any way, shape, fashion, or form. I'm only here for an intelligent discussion, because I would just like to have information on what some of their beliefs were. I told her I'm an Israelite. I'm not an Israeli. I am an Israelite. There's a difference between someone that is an Israelite and an Israeli. An Israeli is someone who occupies the land over there in Palestine. An Israelite is one that is scattered throughout the world in the diaspora. All right. So we had a very intelligent conversation. I traded truth and knowledge with her. She traded truth and knowledge with me. It was just very good. And after that, I said, shalom, or alaikum salam, or whatever. I forgot what I said at the time. But anyway, the first mass shooting event of this year in the U.S., it follows a year in which at least 604 people were killed in mass shooting events. And I might add you, let me see, there was like, 64 cops killed last year. And 22 of those because of retaliation of the 2,000 and something innocent civilians that died at the police hands. The majority of them were, okay? But again, consider what I'm saying in these things. Because every Muslim that I've ever met in this country, I have never met a radicalized individual. And let's really look at it. Whether we like it or not, history proves that America is a Christian nation. And you mean to tell me that the Crusades are still not going? What are we doing over in the East right now? What are we doing? Just thought I'd throw some thoughts out there. But I'm going to tell you right now, it is not in the best interest of the government to incarcerate people or lock up people like this. Number one, because it costs more money. And it's better to pass the bill on to you, because you're going to be the ones that's ultimately responsible for your hospital bills when you go to the hospital to get checked out because you traumatized and all this whole other stuff. My condolences go out to those who are injured and hurt, and the family members that are alive that are still suffering from this heinous act. But I think blame should be put right where it should be put, right on the FBI, because they're the ones who let him go. I mean, if somebody going to come up to you and tell you some stuff like that, you're going to say, what kind of evaluation did you do? Oh, man. Anyway, hey, it's Pastor Dowell's personal thoughts. Sure is opinions. And by the way, this dang terrorist back here called a gun. It ain't killed me. It's evil as hell. That's the way some of you think. It hasn't jumped up off that thing. It hasn't even moved. Hadn't killed me whatsoever at all. When are you going to get it through your thick heads that a gun, a pen, a hammer, or a knife, or sword, or guitar, they are all instruments that can be used in the hand of a person that is evil in order to do evil. So you can pass all the laws against that. That gun don't give a damn about one law in the United States of America. I promise you that. It's an inanimate object. Has no feelings, no emotions, no nothing. It's people that do evil. But boy, the psychology that they use. And by the way, how y'all doing up there in Illinois with all the gun restrictions and everything you got going on? How y'all doing? Y'all the champion of liberty in the United States of America, ain't you? Illinois, Chicago, champion of liberty, isn't you? Aren't you? Ain't y'all leading by example to show us what gun control does? Ain't you showing it? Now, I'm going to tell you, I believe in gun control. I'm going to give you the best advice of gun control that there is. You see that? You see that? That's two complete hands. Two hands on the gun. That is the best gun control in the world. I hope you learned something. Have a good day.